All right. Okay, let's do Potomac real quick. Child. Even Andy or the producers in his ear, because as we know, Andy doesn't actually prepare for anything, which is really sad. At the reunion was like, this season was hard to watch. It wasn't that interesting. Accountability was the word of the night. It was just a mess. But Potomac has been really, really, really hard to watch. And to be honest with you, I think that they should put the show on a pause and recast the entire cast. They could probably keep Karen. And that's it. They could keep Karen, and that's pretty much it. So let's go down the list. Ashley Darby. How does she keep a job? Ashley, to me, is messy. She doesn't really talk about her life. She does it in a way where you think she does, but she really doesn't. Like, what's really going on with her and Michael? She says they're getting a divorce, but then she says she rubs his feet every night. It's like I said before. I called this 2 years ago when she first said that they were separating. I said that is a lie. I don't think for 1 second Ashley and Michael are separated. I think that Michael did not want to film. I don't think he wanted his life on the show. He didn't want his face on the show. He didn't want anything on the show because it started to affect his business. With all the allegations against him of like inappropriate touching, and when Candiace was like, oh, you hired this, male escort for sex and everything like that. I think when all of that started to come out, it started to affect his business. Michael Darby has a lot of real estate, a lot of business. He actually has a lot of money. He is actually really, really rich. And I think once it started to affect his bottom line, he didn't want to film anymore. But Ashley did. She wants her 15 minutes. She wants her little Bravo coin. And I think they compromised with, let's just say we're separating and buy me a house for me and the kids to film in. You keep our penthouse. And because we're separating, then you don't have to film anymore. And you don't have to be accountable anymore. And then production can't be mad at me because we're not together anymore. And I think that's what they did. I don't think this divorce or separation was ever real. I think they have an open marriage where she can still go out and do her little thing with her little Lukes and this and that. He can still go out and have his little hotel tryst and hang out with Juan and do what he wants to do. I don't think anybody's cheating. I think they have an open arrangement, because how is this woman saying, I'm divorcing him, we're separated, I'm doing me, but then she says, I rub his feet every single night. How do you rub his feet every single night if you live in 2 separate homes? How do you rub his feet every night if you allegedly live in 2 different houses? Make it make sense. He bought her that house to film in. Point blank, period. That was her filming house. You can come here, you can kick it with the girls, you can film, because I'm not letting them in the penthouse anymore. That's why when they're on the FaceTime and he thought he was on camera, he ended the call because he doesn't want to be affiliated. He wasn't be on the show anymore because he doesn't want it to affect his bottom line, aka his money. Right? So that, to me, that was a big fat lie. Big old lie. They're not separated. They're not getting divorced. Come on, call a thing a thing. Also with Ashley, I don't understand why no one sees that the entire reason why Nneka and Wendy had a falling out was because of Ashley. She was the one who sat with Nneka and was like, oh, I saw this article about Wendy being Oshun or whatever it is, that they're like cursed or they're like outcast or something. And Nneka was like, oh, really? Well, like, we're not, or whatever it was. And then at Wendy's, or no, then at her housewarming party, Wendy's like, oh, I hope we can be friends. Ashley, we've always liked you. And like, I've always liked you and just like have my back. Ashley felt really guilty. And then she threw Nneka under the bus. And then somehow that turned into Wendy and Nneka being two Nigerian women hating each other. What? Like, I'm confused. She started that whole thing, but at the end of the day, Ashley started it. But how come Wendy with her 4 degrees and Nneka being a lawyer, how come none of them had two common senses between the two of them? They didn't have two brain cells to rub against each other to say, hey, wait a minute. We actually should not be fighting each other. There's nothing that actually for us to fight about. And I blame, out of Wendy and Nneka, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I blame Wendy the most for continuing the BS. I do. I blame Wendy the most because Nneka really was trying to move past it and get over it. And Wendy kept being weird about everything. No, you need to do, like, Wendy, shut up. Like, your mom, and this is the thing. I believe Nneka. I do think Wendy's mom submitted her name to her shrine and did all that stuff, just like she said she did. I do. Although I'm not trying to talk bad about anybody's mother. Don't submit my name to any shrine. If you do, it's going to come back to you 1,000-fold because Jesus loves me, okay? So Wendy's family, don't try and come at me with any voodoo, hoodoo stuff. It's going to come back at you 1,000-fold because I got God and Jesus, okay? Because I believe Nneka, I do. This is the thing. They should have just sat down and talked. And where Wendy really messed up was she did not have a conversation with Nneka alone and first. She just took what Wendy said because quiet as kept, I do believe there was a little bit of jealousy on Wendy's side with Nneka. That there was another Nigerian, beautiful, educated, married woman coming into the group. I do. I'm not saying it was like a malicious jealousy. I think it was more of like a normal jealousy. Like, wait a minute, there's somebody coming in the group that's just like me. Wait a minute. Like, I can see having like a normal, almost like jealousy about it. Now, where it gets being taken too far is how they took it too far, right? I do think that Wendy should not have disbelieved Ashley, because I do think Wendy took what Ashley said. She went back to her family, and her mom made the calls, her sister made the calls, and I do believe what Nneka said about it. Where Wendy with her 4 degrees messed up was trust but verify. Check your sources. Cite your sources. If it were me and someone's coming to me with some BS that somebody allegedly said about me, I'm doing one of two things. One, it's either going in one ear and I'm going to store it in the back of my mind, but I'm not going to act on it. I'm just going to keep it there and I'm going to see how people move. Or two, I'm going to go directly to that person, not angry, not disrespect, not accusatory, but just having a conversation of, hey, listen, this is what I was told. I'm not upset. I'm not mad. I just want to understand what exactly happened from your perspective. Because I need to know who's telling me the truth, right? Because if somebody's carrying you, if a dog is carrying you a bone, it's because they're a dog. You see what I'm saying? So you got to check the carrier. And if Wendy would have just stopped for 1 second and called Nneka and said, hey, listen, Ashley just said you said this. I'm not accusing you of anything, but I want to know from your perspective what happened, what was said. Then this whole weird, unnecessary BS about Nigerian girls fighting, like that, and that was also another story narrative that I was just like, stop. This has nothing to do with Nigerian on Nigerian crime. There's nothing to do with black on black crime. This is just a group of messy women who are gossiping about each other and not checking their sources. Can we please leave the whole Nigerian crap at the door? Can we please leave the whole black girl crap at the door? It's nothing to do with that. This is just a group of women being messy as hell. But when people don't want to take accountability then they want to add those labels to it. No, they do this crap at Beverly Hills. They do this stuff on Roni. They do this in the OC. They do it in Dallas. They do it on every other franchise. They do it in Atlanta. So stop. It's just a group of messy women being messy. That's all that it is. Stop. Stop, 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 stop. So that's why I blame Wendy more, because she should have done her due diligence. Why would you ever trust Ashley? You know what I'm saying? But that's why I believe that there was a little bit of jealousy there. Not necessarily jealousy in a bad way, but as humans, we do have that sort of like, you know, oh, wait a minute, there's a girl just like me coming on. Wait, what? You know, like, it's just that's just like a human thing. Doesn't mean it's bad. But I think it was there. And I think Ashley hit that insecure nerve in Wendy about Nneka. So then when Ashley said that to Wendy, she grabbed onto it without actually going to Nneka and verifying it. That's sort of how I feel about that. So to me, Ashley can go. She's bored. She's boring and bored. She doesn't bring anything really to the show. She's a pot stirrer and she's messy, but we could find somebody else to do that. Wendy, I hate to say it, but 4 degrees can go too. Because it's like, I like Eddie. I like her cute little kids. I like her family. But Wendy, to me, this season, it's too much. It's too much. It's too much. I think she could go. I think Wendy could go. Because the whole Nneka, and it just got out of control. It was just too much. To me, Wendy can go. Now, Candiace, as we know, Candiace quit. And I do think she quit. I don't think she was fired. I think Candiace quitting was very, very smart. Because the women on this show, particularly Ashley and Gizelle and Robyn, has shown Candiace time and time again that there is something in them that wants to destroy her. I think it's rooted in toxic jealousy. Not the little jealousy I was just talking about. I mean our true jealousy. Because I don't care what anybody says. Candiace is a beautiful girl. She's very, very intelligent. She has lacked emotional intelligence a lot, but I do think that she has grown on me because she has worked on herself and she is doing better. And she is taking more accountability, because you can be intelligent all day long, which she is. But this little girl got on this show in the beginning and lacked any type of emotional intelligence you could ever have in the world. The way she talked on social media, the way she behaved on the show, she lacked a lot of emotional intelligence. There was a lot of insecurity, a lot of pick me energy, a lot of validate me energy, you know, but I do think that she's gone to therapy and she's working on herself and she's getting better and she's grown on me. I think she's grown on a lot of people. She's not everybody's cup of tea, but I do think she's gotten better. And I love to see it. I love to see people evolve and grow, as we all should. You know, we all have to work on it. You know, none of us have been as emotionally intelligent as we are today without working on it. So I give her that. But these women have come for so much with her. What they did to Chris was disgusting and wrong. Gizelle still barely taking accountability. I didn't say he forced me. You said he made me go into a hotel room. And the thing is, just like Karen said, words matter. And it was about the insinuation. It was about the insinuation. Gizelle insinuated that Chris did something sexually inappropriate towards her. Whether that was making her go into a hotel room, whether it was, oh, we were the only people there, you know, how he made me feel uncomfortable. And the problem, the huge, huge problem with this, and Mia, and I'm trying to give Mia grace because she was brave enough to share what happened to her. But for her to be like, that's not assault, that's not sexual assault, I wouldn't consider it that. Shut up, Mia. As a survivor, you should be way more way more cognizant to what you're saying, because this is the problem. I'm going to break it down. Gizelle used every single buzzword when it comes to essay. He made me. I felt uncomfortable. All of these things. That, whether or not she said he did something to me or forced me, this is the problem with her now trying to backtrack and being like, I didn't insinuate anything. I didn't say anything. Is that when it happens for real in real life, all of the markers of your body, your intuition, telling you that something is dangerous, or someone, not something, someone is dangerous. When you feel that someone is making you do something, when you have that uncomfortable feeling, which is usually your intuition telling you, watch out for this person, get away, get out, this isn't safe, then that person might feel, if they're like looking to you, I don't know who's looking to Gizelle, but in general, that somehow those feelings are invalid, because now you're trying to backtrack. And what you said before was so pervasive, but now you're trying to dismiss it. When all of those are warning signs and markings and buzzwords and dog whistles and ear tags to what that is. Then you make it harder for women who are truly, or men or children who are really in those situations, to say, you know what, this person makes me feel uncomfortable. This person made me go in this room or do whatever. It doesn't even have to be, quote, sexual. It can still be invasive. It can still feel wrong. It can still be coercive. It's going to make it 1,000 times harder for those people to speak out, because sometimes somebody saying, this person gives me a bad feeling, could be the one thing that's going to save the next person's life, or save the next person from being abused, or save the next person from being assaulted. If someone just says, this person gives me a bad feeling, this person makes me feel uncomfortable. But for Gizelle to now turn around and act like what she was saying wasn't what she said is disgusting, because that is what she insinuated. So on multiple levels, it's wrong. One, you're going to now make people feel like, well, he only made me feel uncomfortable, so maybe I'm overreacting. Well, it's not really assault. Well, it's not really this. Well, you're going to make people gaslight themselves. Well, I'm going to ungaslight everybody. I'm telling you, if you feel in your heart, in your stomach, in your gut, something is wrong, or you feel uncomfortable, get out of that situation. I don't care who it is. Don't worry about offending anybody. Don't worry about looking crazy. Don't worry about not knowing. If your gut is telling you something is wrong, it is wrong, and get out of the situation any way you have to. I got to go to the bathroom. My friend is waiting for me. My mom just called me. I'm feeling really sick right now. I need to go to the hospital. Do whatever you got to do to get out that situation. Listen to your gut, and don't let weird, fake, idiotic, disgusting women like Gizelle make you feel like your feelings don't matter. And Mia, for that fact, which I was shocked when she said that, because I know she's on the show said she was a survivor. And when you talk to people like that, or even people who have close calls or something really bad has happened to them, they always say, something in me said something was wrong. Something in me told me to leave. Something in me told me not to go. Something in me told me not to stay. They always say that. Something told me something was wrong. I got a bad feeling about this person. So for Gizelle to now act like that's not what she was trying to say when that's what she was trying to say is disgusting. And I think Candiace 1,000% did the right thing by leaving the show, because Potomac has gotten dangerous on every level. It's gotten dangerous on a professional level. I don't know who wants to hire those people. It's gotten dangerous on an emotional level. Look what it did to her marriage, and look what it did to Chris. He was clearly depressed about the whole situation. It's dangerous on a financial level. Chris said he lost work and everything. And it's also dangerous on a physical level, because I don't believe Ashley. You got to watch out. I wouldn't be surprised if Ashley and Deborah was setting Candiace up to get jumped, Because why did Ashley bring Deborah there in the first place? And then when you listen to the audio, Deborah clearly comes to Candiace and is like, oh, you saying stuff, blah, 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 da, 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 da. And how it escalated so quickly, I wouldn't be surprised if they were setting Candiace up to get jumped. Notice how she waited until the cameras were down when they thought they were wrapped. Because this is what doesn't make sense. Everyone is saying, oh, Deborah came there because she wanted attention. She wanted attention. If Deborah wanted attention, why didn't she check Candiace when the cameras were there? I do think she came there with an agenda, but I don't think the agenda was attention. I think the agenda was to jump Candiace. I don't know if the women are smart enough to catch on to that. I don't even know if Candiace caught on to that. But to me, I was like, oh, they said they want to jump Candiace. Because if she only wanted attention, why did she wait till the cameras were down to approach her? She approached her when she thought they weren't being filmed. She approached her when she thought they weren't being taped. That's why it's only audio, because the producers were being sneaky as hell. Oh, we're wrapped for the day. If you're wrapped for the day, then how come you still had audio rolling? See that you can't trust the producers either. Oh, we're wrapped for the day. Finish up. We're done. If you're done, why is the microphone still rolling? See, you gotta think about this stuff. You gotta think about this. Deborah clearly thought the show's over. If I want attention, I'm checking you in front of the camera. I'm checking you to get my screen time. We're gonna have our little fight so I can make sure I get my screen time. But if I come to actually mess you up, if I come to actually fight you, I'm gonna make sure it's off camera. See, you got to really think about this stuff. She didn't come for attention. She came to jump Candiace. Maybe Candiace figured it out, and that's why Candiace is really leaving the show. I think she should leave the show because it's too dangerous at this point. It's too dangerous. That one girl, Kia, got knocked in the head, either with like a bottle or something, and she had to go get stitches. Come on. What is it going to take? What is it really going to take? And this is the thing. Bravo is trash because I am sure there's going to be in the reunion some topic about, oh, us as Black women, we don't want to be violent. We don't want to show that. Bravo doesn't condone violence. But when the white boys, and the only reason why I'm bringing up race is because it actually is pertinent to this conversation. But when the white boys of Southern Charm, Austin and JT, they same exact situation. Except for on camera. It was the finale party of this season of Southern Charm. Austin and JT were fighting, first arguing back and forth. You know what I'm saying? They were arguing back and forth. No, dude. Blah, 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 blah. Austin got pissed. He pushed Austin in his chest, like bucking up. He pushed him when he was standing on some like stool thing. He almost fell off the stool. Then they got to tussling. And then JT head-butted Austin. This was a full-on physical bar fight. These two men had been drinking all day. They were fighting verbally, and then they started fighting physically to the point where JT head-butted Austin. Did we get any type of memo from Bravo that they don't condone violence? Did we get any type of conversation from Austin and JT that they don't want to represent white men as violent? And this is not how they want to represent the white people of the world as violent. Did we get any of that? At the reunion, this is how sick it was. Andy was laughing about it with Austin, laughing about it. And he was giving JT a little bit of a hard time when JT was the victim. Austin, who Andy likes, because we know how Andy has his favorites. Andy likes Austin, maybe more Hey, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. None of my business. But clearly, Andy really likes Austin. Austin was the aggressor physically. We talk about Candiace being the aggressor verbally. He was the aggressor physically. He hit JT first. But Andy was giving it more to JT because he likes JT less than he likes Austin. There was no conversation about violence. There was no conversation about white violent culture. There was no conversation about anything. They were kikiing and laughing and hoot and the holler about these two men fighting. But when it's the Black girls that are fighting, it's a totally different story. It's ghetto. It's Black women are violent. This isn't who we are. This isn't love and hip hop. It's a completely different story when the Black girls are fighting versus than when the white guys are fighting. And at the end of the day, it is simply violence. It's not a Black thing. It's not a white thing. It's not a male thing. It's not a female thing. It's a human thing. Human beings, regardless of race or gender, have the propensity to be violent. The problem is when you treat one group of people differently than another group of people for having the same exact human reaction. That is what the problem is. So if Andy Cohen on any parts of this reunion has the audacity to come at these women for their violence, I'm going to have a problem with that, because go watch Southern Charm reunion. No, watch the last episode first. Watch these boys fight and then watch Andy laugh about it. He had a good kiki with Austin about it and was going at JT when JT was the victim. JT was defending himself. But because Andy doesn't like JT the way he likes Austin, he was making JT the bad guy when JT was defending himself. That is really what the problem is. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And I'm not saying either group is right, because it's not right. Violence in any form is wrong. But it's a human reaction. Because at the end of the day, I don't care how much melanin you have in your body or not, we're all human beings. And violence is a human reaction. That's why you have violence in every single group of human beings in the world, because it's a human reaction. And that's why it should be treated equally across all humans, not just pick and choose which humans get to be violent and which humans don't. Andy can go too. Now that I'm thinking about it, Andy needs to go. He does. He has no business hosting reunions. Did you notice at the reunion where he was looking at the card? He goes, "Oh, this is a good question. In my mind, I've done hosting before. Way back in the day. In my mind, or anything really, anything you do, how do you not prepare? How is it the first time you're reading these questions for a reunion is on the stage while they're taping the reunion?" He does the same thing with Watch What Happens Live. How do you not prepare? I would be all out of sorts. I would be like, give me all the questions. Let me go through my cards. Okay, let me add this. Let me take this out. Blah, 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 blah. Like, you want to be prepared. You want to be in your groove. But you can tell that he's reading these cards for the first time. For the first time. He needs to stop. And he has all these lawsuits against him. Nene sued him. Leah sued him. All these people. Like, not that I necessarily co-signed those lawsuits, because I do think that a lot of it was for self-aggrandizing. You know what I'm saying? Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's for a whole nother video. But I do think that Andy needs to be put on pause for a bit, because he's all over the place, but he's not doing anything. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you're spread so thin, you're not thick anywhere. I think he should just focus on, he can keep his little Watch What Happens Live show. That's a little cute thing. He can keep that. He's doing some show on Peacock about dating. I haven't watched it, so I don't care if he keeps that or not because I don't watch that. But he needs to let the housewives go. He doesn't have any power anymore. He hasn't had any power in a very long time. He doesn't choose who gets fired. He doesn't choose who get hired. There is the perception that he has that power, but he doesn't. I was watching Watch What Happens Live. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it with Claudia Jordan and maybe it was Wendy. Maybe it was Wendy and Claudia. And I could tell that Andy had completely forgotten that Claudia used to be on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I could tell that he truly had completely forgotten that. Completely. It was crazy. But anyway, Andy needs to be put on pause. I think the network will. I don't think they'll do it right now because they don't want to show any type of kink in their armor as long as the lawsuits are pending or whatever it is. It's almost like when somebody messes up at the job and the corporate people keep that person on the job until they see their way clear, and then they'll fire that person, but they don't want to fire that person right away because it kind of shows liability. Do you know what I mean? But I think they're gonna phase Andy out. I really do. I think they're gonna phase her out. Okay. So that's Candiace. Candiace, I wish you well. I think you are doing great with your little acting and singing. Whether or not Candiace and Chris make it, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure if Candiace and, her husband is Chris. Yeah, Chris Bassett. I'm not sure they're going to make it or not. I hope they do. But there seems to be a lot of tension, a lot of reversals of resentment. Like when he was booked and busy, she resented him. Then when she was booked and busy, he resented her. And then with the whole Gizelle thing, that probably has a lot of problems in their marriage. She's now putting on hold having a child to focus on her career, where again, it's 2024. You really could do your music and still have a child and do your acting and still have a child. You know, it's almost like a cool thing. Not that I'm trying to make a child an accessory, but y'all know what I mean. So I think I don't know. I think the decision not to have children is because I think they're trying to figure out if they're going to stay together. You know, that's kind of what I think. Adam says, am I going to drop the StreamYard link? Yes. Do you want to come up? I'll drop it in a second. I'm going to get through Potomac and then I'll drop it. Okay. So Candiace, I wish you well. And I think it's really, really smart for you to get out now because Potomac franchise is a burning ship. Mia. Messy Mia. I'm going to tell y'all what I think about this chick. I feel so bad for Gordon. I love G. I don't think Mia ever loved him. I think when she said, I married him for the money, I think she was telling the truth. I think the moment she was able to get her own coin through the show and through the platform of the show, and then when he fell on hard times with his family business and everything that happened, I think she was ready to leave. And the reason why I think she doesn't want him to fight his family isn't because she doesn't want the fight or think about what he did. It's because she's done with him because she no longer needs him. And the fact that she is now dating the radio personality guy who she was messing with for years, Mia, you're stupid. I'm not name calling. I actually mean you're stupid. Because what I mean by that is, if this man, this DJ personality, has never truly committed to you, but has had sex with you, while you've been single, engaged, and married, but never committed to you, who thinks one of your children is his child, but has never fought to find out. Why would you, now that you have this platform, now that you're making your own money, now that you're a public figure, and now he sees that he can use you for a come up, why would you go back and choose him? I'm not saying you have to stay with Gordon. If you're not in love with him, let him go. Because Gordon is going through a lot. Gordon is, in my mind, like she said on the show, I think he's depressed. He's clearly depressed. He admitted that he had some health issues. You know, God bless him. He talked about his prostate, which he basically was like, I had some prostate issues when I turned 70. Some things weren't working, AKA he probably couldn't perform sexually. And that's when he said to Mia, you know, if you want to find someone who can satisfy you sexually, I'm okay with that because I'm sick. Like, did you guys really understand what happened in their marriage? I think she weaponizes, oh, he wanted threesomes and he wanted this and I didn't want that anymore. I think she weaponizes that as an excuse to make herself the victim, to make it easier to leave him. When the truth is, Mia, in my opinion, you're not in love with him and the well has run dry and you're ready to cut bait because he no longer serves your agenda. I'm not saying you have to be with a man you don't love, but you are stupid as hell to be with a man who used you for sex for over a decade, never claimed you, never fought for you, never claimed this alleged child, but now all of a sudden wants to claim you and be with you now that you're on a TV show. And you want to play in our face and act like we're stupid, that we're going to fall for some high school sweethearts, star-crossed lover BS. No, he used you for sex for over a decade. And now you're on a TV show and he wants to be famous with you, little radio personality person, wants some of your fame. Now he wants to claim you because he wants to be on TV with you. We're not stupid, Mia. You are. And I'm not name calling. I mean stupid, because that is a stupid thing to do. It's a stupid thing to put your children through, and it's a stupid thing to do to yourself, because he's going to use you the way he's been using you, and then he's going to do to you what you did to Gordon. The moment the well is dry, the moment you no longer serve him, he's going to leave you and cut bait, just like he did to Gordon. The problem is you're messing with these little kids. If it was just you, Mia, knock yourself out. But you got some beautiful kids. And Gordon said that. He goes, why are the kids coming being like, mommy wants to replace you. Mommy's with him. Mommy's sleeping with this person. You're messing with the kids. That's the problem. I hope you had a conversation with your son, Jeremiah, about his paternity before you had it on national television. Did you talk to your son about how his father is being questioned? Because I'm pretty sure he believes Gordon is his father. And I'm pretty sure it's going to mess with his head that now all of a sudden mommy's boyfriend is daddy. What? Did you talk to your child about this before you talked about it on national television? Well, how come you haven't gotten a paternity test? Because based on the previews, you haven't gotten a paternity test. Why? Number one, Mia, and not to put the most onus on the mother, but that's the society we live in. As a mother, you don't want to know who your baby's father is? You don't want to know? And secondly, stop pretending like this DJ person actually loves you or your maybe child or not. Because a real man, if he thought he had a child out there, would fight tooth and nail to find out. You could get a court order. If he truly thought that boy was his son, and if he truly wanted to be a father to that child, he could get a court-ordered paternity test to find out if that child was really his or not. Because if he was a real man who really wanted to be with you and really wanted to be a father, he would have got a court-ordered test to find out. But yet there's no paternity test. But allegedly this is your meant to be man forever. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Bye, 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 bye. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You're not going to piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Mia, you're not going to paint this man as like your high school love and when I'm ready, he would be there. Men don't work like that. Women do. Men don't. And I'm not being sexist. I'm talking about like hardwiring. Obviously, there's different situations for different people. We know nuance. This is the candy cane group. We know nuance. So there's obviously levels and nuance to it. But speaking stereotypically, women might wait and just be there for the man. But stereotypically, if a man wants that woman, he's going to do everything he can to get her. He's not going to wait 20 or 2 decades, have sex with her whenever he wants to, whether she's single, engaged, or married, or whatever, and just wait until she just so happens to be on a TV show, and then all of a sudden he's going to do everything in his power to be with her. Is he doing everything in his power to be with you, or is he doing everything in his power to be on TV? Because he sure as hell isn't doing anything in his power to be a father to that boy if he really is the father. So girl, bye. Bye. No, Mia, miss me with all of that. Justice for Gordon and justice for the children. Because I feel really bad for Gordon. I think he was trying to give Mia the world. I think he thought, because again, stereotypically speaking, a lot of male, self-esteem and bravado and ego comes in being able to sexually please his woman or his wife, right? I'm just talking, pejoratively. We know that there's different levels to everything. And I think, like he said, which was really sad, and if you caught it, you caught it. He's like, when I was 70, I had prostate issues. So I think that he felt less of a provider, less of a protector, less of a man, because he wasn't able to perform for her. So maybe he did do some shady business stuff to keep the money coming in. Because like Mia said, she married him for his money. So he probably thought, the way I keep her is to buy her and to let her have sex with other men, as long as she stays with me. And that was really sad. And that's basically what he said in the finale. I'm still willing to work on this. I told you could go do what you wanted. Just don't do it in public, and don't go with the children. Just stay with me. And it's really, really sad. And I feel really, really bad for Gordon. I really do. He deserved better. Justice for Gordon. Okay. Miss Karen. I love Karen. She's the anchor of the show. She's the best. She's super level-headed. And you can tell with Karen, she is just doing everything she can to keep all the women in check, to keep the show going. I think Karen's number one agenda is to keep the show going, not to get the show canceled and not to get kicked off the show. I think that's Karen's number one agenda. And she is just, Miss T says, Gordon is still playing along. Did you see him at the reunion? Yes, that's what I mean. Like, I think that it's so sad. Like, Gordon is so broken and so depressed, and I think desperate. And I think he still has the delusional hope that she will come back to him. And I think that's why he's like, you can do what you want. Like, I'm trying to get this money for you. You can have sex with whoever you want. Just like, don't leave me. Like, that's so sad. And like, how disrespectful, where You have Gordon, who is still your husband, father of your children, until proven otherwise, sitting here FaceTiming with the guy who is claiming to be the father of his son and who is the man who is now having sex with his wife publicly. How degrading. How degrading. And you see Gordon smiling and just, oh, hey, man. And yeah, okay, dude. And I'm sure he's just going to have Mia's back and he's going to have her back and delusional and all this stuff. My heart goes out to Gordon. I'm a little fearful for him. There's just a deep sadness to him. I'm fearful for him. I'm fearful for him. Prayers up for Gordon. Karen just wants to keep the show going. I think Karen and Gizelle had a powwow. They had a ponderosa. They had a powwow where they were like, what can we do to keep this show from getting canceled and staying on the air? I think they had a ceasefire. I think any of the stuff back and forth between Karen and Gizelle in the show, I think that they were both in on it. And I think they both got together and said, how can we keep the show on? And I think Karen says, I'm going to babysit Wendy and Candiace. And I think Gizelle said, I'm going to babysit Robyn and Ashley. I think Mia was just in the mix and Nneka was just in the mix, So, yeah. I love Karen. No notes for her. She's great. She's doing it and dipping it and doing it. So good for her. I love her. Gizelle can go. We're just going to float over and pretend like she didn't have a complete fake relationship with the guy Jason from Winter House. Like, we're just going to pretend that it never happened. What happened to Jason? What happened to that storyline? He just disappeared. Like, they just disappeared. They just stopped talking about it. There was no resolution. Did they break up? Did they not break up? It just acted like it never happened. I almost forgot it happened. We're just going to pretend that happened. She's another one who uses her children for story. Don't get me wrong. All the kids are cute. Yay. But when your children are your complete storyline, it gets to be too much. And sure, the girls are cute. It's a beat. But I don't need to see the kids every single scene. I don't. Get some friends your own age. And talk to friends your own age about your life, and because that's what the show is. And also, I am an adult, and I would rather watch adults talk about their lives than watch children talk about their lives, because I am not a child. So there's that, And also, like, I think it's cute for the kids to come, but I want to protect the kids too. Like, let the kids be kids. And a lot of times you see on these shows, the children are usually very parenthesized. What I mean by that, I hope I'm saying it correctly, parenthesized, not parentheses, but like made to be parents. They usually act very adult. They're usually all very mature. They usually are always giving their mothers advice. Usually that's because these women are very narcissistic. And so they treat their children like their best friends rather than children. So you see this dynamic with Teresa and her children, with Kyle and her children, with Gizelle and her children. You see it a lot with certain people, and the majority of these women with their children. Ramona and her daughter. You see it where the children are usually the ones, Shannon even, are usually the ones counseling the mothers. Do you notice that? I hate to see it. I hate to see it. Let the kids be the kids, okay? Let the kids be the kids. Gizelle can go. She took basically her not talking to Candiace about the colorism, to me, was a load of crap. And I have the unpopular opinion. I don't agree with Candiace. I don't think that there's colorism on Potomac. I'm not going to get too far in that conversation. but I don't see it. I don't think it's colorism. Do I think there's favoritism? Yes. Do I think there's likability issues? Yes. But do I think it's colorism? No. So I actually don't agree with Candiace on this. But on the other hand, I think Gizelle needs to stop lying and acting like it's the whole colorism, death threats crap. That is the reason why she's so mad at Candiace. No, you just don't like Candiace. And you're mad because your whole take down Chris narrative blew up in your face and everybody saw you for the fake, phony, boring, tired out, dry liar that you are. And you got caught and it blew up in your face because you were looking for a moment in a storyline and you got caught in multiple lies and you don't like it. And you're clearly jealous of Candiace. I'm not a Candiace defender by any means either. I just call it like I see it. I think Gizelle is deeply jealous of Candiace. I do. I really, really do. I think Gizelle is deeply jealous of a lot of women. I think she's deeply jealous of Wendy too. That is why you didn't want to talk to her this season. Don't act like it's because of your colorism comments, my children. And girl, shut up, please. You probably have gotten more hate over your ex-husband, baby daddy, Jamal Bryant out here in these streets, dipping it and doing it and having 20 kids on it in the congregation and whatever else he's going to be caught doing. You probably have gotten a lot more stuff over him than you have over Candiace's comments. Okay? So that's where I fall. I don't agree with Candiace on colorism, but I don't agree with Gizelle that was such a big deal in her world that she can never talk to Candiace again. Like, shut up, Gizelle. You just say, you know what, Candiace? I don't like you. Just admit it. You don't like her. But the reason why you don't like her is because in your core, you're jealous of her. Candiace is beautiful. She's talented. She has a husband. She has a cute coin. I think a lot of the women are jealous of her. But because Candiace has been very pick-me, she does have a very pick-me energy. She needs a lot of validation. She's very insecure herself. That there's this sort of weird dichotomy of I'm jealous of this person, but I also don't respect this person. So it's like a weird dichotomy there. And the reason why there's no respect there, I think Candiace is getting better at it, but because Candiace didn't respect herself. You can be as smart as Albert Einstein, but if you don't validate yourself without seeking the validation, because a lot of reason why Candiace is so hurt all the time is because she wants to be picked and she wants to be chosen. Like, for example, with Robyn, Robyn's like, well, if you think that I'm such a horrible person who would set your husband up, because she did, why do you want to be friends with me? And that's a valid point. Because I wouldn't be boohooing and crying and wishing somebody would forgive me or apologize to me or get my friend back if I thought that they would set up my husband. Doesn't mean I agree with Robyn because I do think that there was some sort of conversation, cahoots of who are we going to target this season to take the heat off of ourselves. Was it explicit? We're going to go after Chris and Candiace? I think it was. But this is a thing because karma always comes back. When Candiace was friends with Monique way back in the day, she was a part of the Ponderosa powwow when all of the girls got together, Gizelle and Robyn and everybody else. And they're like, oh, we're going to go after Monique and her husband, Chris, and the paternity of her child and all this stuff. Candiace did not go back and tell Monique that, and they were supposed to be good friends. Candiace went and told Karen, and Karen was the one who told Monique. So Candiace knows this is how this group gets down because she used to be a part of how the group got down. So when she says, I think you guys plotted to take down me and my husband and make up these lies, I believe her, and she knows it's true because she was in the plot, but it wasn't her. It was Monique and Chris. Gizelle, girl bye. Robyn, girl bye. Robyn's been fired. Word on the street. She will not be returning. I could have told you that because everyone said, why did Bravo bring Robyn back after her and Juan lied? And the whole Patreon and the girl from Canada and all that stuff. And I said, of course they brought her back because they don't look at these women as human beings. They look at them as investments. How can I get a return on my investment? That's what they look at these women as. So if you put on your executive producer hat, you're going to bring Robyn back because you want your pound of flesh. You want her to come back with Juan, but you want them to come back and spill it. You want them to come back and talk about the cheating and the women and the SA allegations and him getting fired and what's really happening and the Canada woman. They want their pound of flesh. By pound of flesh, I mean they want their money. They're not going to cut bait on Robyn when she's a trending topic and everybody's talking about what happened and are they going to stay together and is he cheating? Is it true or not? The problem is the reason why they cut bait this time was because they did not get a return on their investment. I think that they were very clear with Robyn. You come back, you need to be transparent. And she was not. She stayed and she lied through her teeth. Juan lied through his teeth. They deflected. We don't care. It's all good. So she came back and she continued to lie. And that's why she got fired this time. But it was very clear that the producers told them, you need to get Robyn to tell the truth. That's why you had Gizelle, her green-eyed bandit best friend, first time ever in life, actually question Robyn. That's why they had their little intervention with Charisse and Ashley, because the executives wanted a return on their investment because they don't look at these women as people, they look at them as investments. So they will use you as long as they get a return on you. But when you stop producing, they will cut bait. And the fact that Juan did not show up at the reunion, that right there, you knew she got the pink slip. I mean, Juan should have showed up at the reunion if they wanted to keep this little Bravo cute coin coming in. He should have showed up at the reunion. And Robyn, if she is incapable of an emotion, she should at least pretended. But this whole, I don't care, he didn't do it, why are you coming after me, blah, 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 this attitude, this staunchness, this, pretending like the world is against them and they're innocent, that narrative and BS isn't going to fly. And she tested it and she effed around and found out. And that's why she's fired. But of course they're going to bring her back because they wanted a return on that investment. They didn't get the return. She got fired, which is good. Okay, Nneka. Ugh. Nneka. She's a no for me. And to be honest with you, I actually like her. I know it might be an unpopular opinion, but I like her. I think she's really pretty. I like her. I like her style. I think she has good clothes style. I think she's fun. She would do a good boozy brunch, a good dinner, shopping, home decor. I actually really like her. I think she's a really fun girl. The problem is it's almost an Anna Marie problem from Beverly Hills. When you come into the group and you let somebody else set your agenda, you let somebody else wind you up, and that somebody else was Ashley. And then you spend your entire season not connecting to the audience,